Welcome to this edition of Bonehead of the Week. Boy, Gabe, we have a lot of boneheads, but one worked their way in right there at the end.
Dude,
we have this affidavit.
Just the 11th hour came in.
God. I mean, you were making graphics, and this dude is getting eviscerated in number 47 in this affidavit. I tweeted 45 runs into number 47 on the affidavit. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
He's number 45. They claim he wants to be number 47 on this affidavit.
I don't know. I mean, I also want to point out the fact that, like, when people spell out treason with 45, it's like, man, that just seemed to really work for that. Huh?
Right.
TRE450N. Like, we got that treason right. It works perfectly. You know, other than the fact of 45 looks like the revised swastika that I've seen people do online. But I don't know, man. Trump, he really put himself into a fucking shit show here.
It's almost like he stole a bunch of top secret documents, stuffed them in a box, and put them in Melania's underwear drawer. Yeah. I'm just saying. So who are our boneheads of the week this week besides Grandpa Poopy Pants? We have on the docket, we have Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's done a lot of dumb shit, but this week she continues to do the boneheaded stuff. We have Devin Nunes. Speaking of Donald Trump and his lackeys, Devin Nunes, he's bonehead of the week. And then we have Ben Shapiro. We put him on the list for something, but I think he did something else this morning that would qualify him to be on contestants of Bonehead of the Week. Are you looking it up there?
Yeah, I don't know what he did. I don't know. He did listening. I can look it up right now, though.
Well, thanks for joining us on Bonehead of the Week every single Friday for all the new listeners out there on the Tony Michaels podcast. Here's what happens. To let you know how Bonehead of the Week works, you just go follow us on Twitter at Tony Michaels Pod, or you can go to our channel on YouTube at Tony Michaels Pod, subscribe there, and you can vote every single week, Gabe, for Bonehead of the Week. You vote, you decide, and me and Gabe break it down here on the Tony Michaels Podcast in the second hour on Friday in the segment we like to call Bonehead of the Week. Every single Friday, Gabe, we got great news this week.
It's always happening, always updating. Shit is always hitting the fan over here.
As Dash Dabrowski said, it's big news.
Big news.
We are on the MeidasTouch network Friday nights. I don't think we still worked out a time. So whatever time we're here, that's the time that we're here. So if you're watching this on the MeidasTouch network on Friday evenings, you're watching the replay of this show, and don't miss the replay on the MeidasTouch network. Make sure you go over and subscribe to their channel as well. You do not want to miss this. Gabe, the other thing for all the new listeners for Bonehead of the Week out there, we put this thing up on the directories on Sunday. So you can listen. You can even listen to Bonehead of the Week.
Apple, Spotify, Google. Drive to the park, take a walk, listen to us rant about these boneheads.
Bonehead of the Week. I love this segment. This is one of the best segments we have.
The week.
Bonehead. So let's start out. Let's go to Devin Nunes first. That won't take long to describe why he's a bonehead. So what's the because he's on here for True Social, right? Is that what's going on? So what is what's the big news about True Social?
Well,
what do we got going on over there?
Surprise. If you couldn't have expected it, which you totally should have, Truth Social, Trump's social media app that was supposed to go against Twitter's Truth Social, turns out that they might be in significant financial disarray. Looks like they're stiffing one of their vendors. They've only made a few payments of an agreement made.
Vendor, what do you mean by vendor? Because I think this is important for Truth Social, because it sounds like where they house all their data and all the information that makes it operate and run. It sounds like they're not paying the bill to be there. Is that what's going on?
That's pretty much what they owe. Around $1.6 million to a company called RightForge. And now RightForge is threatening legal action to recoup the money. They've only made, I think, about 3 payments. Again, could anyone have guessed? Yes, we could have from the get-go that Truth Social would have stiffed anyone that they were working with. They might make a couple payments here to show some good faith, but then they'll be like, fuck it, we're not going to do anymore. And that's the same business practice that Trump has done with all of his businesses, right? Any sort of contractor maybe pays him a little bit, doesn't pay him the rest, or he just doesn't pay him at all. And then he just tries to spread it out through court and try to fight him that way. And, sometimes people win and a lot of times people lose just because they don't have the resource or the funds to actually fight illegally. But again, Totally expected. Totally
this tweet here
expected.
is from a Fox Business correspondent.
Yeah.
I'm not shitting you. It was Fox Business who released this scoop. The Fox Business Network
Fox News is turning on Trump, man. They had that other piece the other day that was talking about how the search of Mar-a-Lago was justified.
Right. Well, this is the reason why Devin Nunes worked his way on Bonehead of the Week, because
he's gonna be the fall guy for whatever happens.
I think that's the actual story here on Devin Nunes is not only are they're up to their eyeballs in debt now, which is funny because I'm guessing that they'll go ask for forgiveness.
Wait! You're saying that they're going to ask for some sort of
I bet they would ask
loan
for
forgiveness.
I bet they would. Not hypocritical at all or anything like that.
Hypocrisy, thy name is the Republican Party.
For Fraud Social to stay afloat, because that's the other story around True Social. Really, is that they're being investigated by the Federal Exchange Commission because of some of their. When they were raising money, when they were laundering the raising of money originally. And then Donald Trump's like, hey, Devin Nunes, come be my fall guy. Give up your seat in Congress and come be my fall guy. That's a good idea. And Devin Nunes is like, move on over. I'm coming in. And there he was. What?
No, I just,
you don't like how Devin said move on over?
I mean, he was very excited for sure. I mean, any good cow pun. Obviously, for a very sensitive, triggered snowflake like Devin Nunes, who has to sue a Twitter account, really tells you who they are, you know?
Well, I just figured if Devin Nunes is going to say move on over, he would say move.
Oh, yeah, no, he would for sure, kind of exaggerate that out.
Cows don't actually say moo. Do you know that? They go,
what? Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, I grew up on a farm, so I know how.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So they don't actually moo.
Well, I mean, it sounds a little bit like a moo, but like that's when you're trying to get a kid. Like, what's the cow say? Moo 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 moo.
Oh, right. Old MacDonald, right, had a farm.
Old MacDonald. Old Devin Nunes had a farm. Hee-ya-hee-ya-ho. Oh my God. Who's the next bonehead that we have?
We've got Ben Shapiro.
Oh, what happened here? He went to a podcast event.
Yeah, he went to a podcast event. There was also talks that he had taken PPP loan money.
Oh no! Wait. Okay. He paid it back, did he?
No. I just want to clarify. So basically, he had a tweet that went after. It says, what was the original tweet that he had? It was his, the current higher education industry as subsidized by the federal government is a massive scam. It is an elitist project fostering unnecessary credentialism, pushing people who shouldn't take on debt to go to college to do so paid by regressive retributionism. Now, I agree. Higher education is a broken system that needs to be reformed in many ways.
Well, and it's a cultural issue and a social issue, not necessarily. I mean, because we put ourselves in a situation where so many people can, make money convincing people to do something with their lives that maybe isn't the best opportunity.
Now, here's the problem. Ben Shapiro says that higher education, the whole industry, is an elitist project fostering unnecessary credentialism. Funny, considering the fact that Ben Shapiro went to UCLA, which I live out in LA, and this is a very, very expensive school.
Seems elitist to me. Seems
a little bit elitist. And I mean, if we're going to talk about elite schools, let's talk
where
about
else did he go?
Where else went to Harvard.
Oh,
he went to Harvard.
Yeah. You telling me that Ben Shapiro is some kind of an elite? No, couldn't be.
It would seem that way, Tony. It would seem that way.
Couldn't be. Get the fuck out.
But there was also this tweet. It was a doctored photo that said Ben Shapiro took out $20,000 or so with PPP loan money, right? Because he was also
this was a fake. This was a fake.
Turns out it was fake. So he did not take out $20,000 in forgiven PPP loan money, though that's not to say that it's untrue, because it is true for another contestant we have on this week's Bonehead of the Week.
Oh, wow.
But I just wanted to clarify for anyone listening or watching that the money that you may have seen allegedly he had taken in PPP money, not true. Not true.
Well, he showed up in the news yesterday, Ben Shapiro. Not about the PPP, but there was this thing, podcast movement down. It's like a convention, a podcast convention down in
Right.
Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
We were actually considering going to it.
We were
considering going to it. It was pretty expensive, but we couldn't work it out on the schedule.
Yeah.
But the podcast movement put out a statement because he showed up unannounced, because you had to have, we were looking at the tickets and stuff.
Right, yeah.
And you could do like a group ticket, or you could buy a booth, or you could just get like an individual ticket.
Yeah, just like an attendee pass.
Right,
yeah.
Right. And you could select different places that you wanted to go and different like talks that you wanted to attend, right? But they had a general conference area where you could go to booth to booth to booth. Now, if people don't know, Ben Shapiro is famously the vile, nasty owner of the vile, nasty media group, the Daily Wire, where people like Ben Shapiro's show, Matt Walsh, that fucking bigot, all that garbage comes out of. But Podcast Movement, they actually did the thing where they rented a booth to the Daily Wire, and they regretted it very quickly, because here's their statement. Here's their statement from yesterday. Hi, folks. We owe you an apology before sessions kick off for the day. Yesterday afternoon, Ben Shapiro briefly visited the PM22, which is the Podcast Movement 2022 Expo area, which the Expo is the big conference area near the Daily Wire booth. Though he was not registered or expected, we take full responsibility for the harm done by his presence. Oh, you can't make this shit up. So literally the Podcast Movement here, the conference is saying that because Ben Shapiro showed up, just his mere presence causes harm. This is a fantastic burn here. And I think they made up for the their lack of wherewithal to understand that if they rented a booth to the Daily Wire, that maybe, just maybe, Ben Shapiro would show up. They continue to say in this thread, there's no way around it. We agreed to sell the Daily Wire a first-time booth based on the company's large presence in podcasting. The weight of that decision is now painfully clear. Shapiro is a co-founder, and a drop-in, however unlikely, should have been considered a possibility. So they know the error of their ways. But to me, Gabe, they totally made it up by this statement.
Yeah, totally.
Totally made up.
Yeah,
totally made up for it. So I would consider going to the Podcast Movement next year.
Yeah.
Just because of this statement.
I'm
almost disappointed that we weren't able to put it together at the last minute.
I think
to get down there.
Adam was down there right now.
Because we interviewed Adam Epstein Wednesday. So he was probably there. That's probably where he was. Was getting.
I was wondering. I was like, why? It looks like a hotel room.
Yeah, it looks like he's in a hotel. So he's probably in the expo. I'm disappointed that I didn't go, because we didn't get to participate with all the other podcasters. That would have been fun. But here's what
next year.
But here's what I want to say. I'm really disappointed that I wasn't there to be within spitting distance of. I'm not saying I would. I just within spitting distance. I mean, I wanted to be close to Ben Shapiro, to yell something. But spitting distance of him, to be within spitting distance of him, might be something that I would want to do. Who else do we have on the Bonehead? We have someone who is Charlie Kirk's stepbrother. As Alpha Cuck, Charlie Kirk. What happened here with Charlie Kirk and Turning Points USA?
Oh boy. Well, they had a tweet, which I'm sure you can easily find now. They ended up deleting that tweet.
Oh, really? He
because
they
tweet?
Wait, he's self-canceling? They're doing self-cancel culture?
They are suppressing their own voice, Tony. They are suppressing their own voice.
Couldn't be.
But they had a tweet that was in response to the White House and how they were calling out. I believe it was the White House's response.
Yes, it was
to Marjorie Taylor Greene.
It was I quote tweeted it.
And this is why I always take a screenshot, Tony, because someone is gonna get called out and someone is gonna delete it. And now nobody knows the context of what the tweet said. Oh man,
look at this. See, I quote tweeted their tweet because they.
But go to.
Yeah, I've got it. I've got it here. But I want to.
This is why I take screenshots.
This is what happens. See, I quote tweeted him, and I said, "You're gonna shit when you hear who shut this motherfucker down."
Yeah.
So there's no context because the tweet is deleted.
Right.
Because I asked you yesterday.
Yesterday
on the show. I said, "Why did you screenshot?" Here's the reason why I gave
screenshots. Those comments aged.
Boom, just from yesterday. But here, if you want to know, of course, people, Of course, people screenshot this damn thing because they knew they would be in trouble. MeidasTouch says, "Yikes!" That's all you really had to say here, because here's the screenshot of it. The White House tweeted. Well, it was a whole thread, really, and that's what I want to get into here. That's why I wanted to.
Of course, will lead us into.
That's what I want to lead into.
Who is our last contestant
of the dark house? I mean, the White House, rising from the ashes here. They were pointing out in this thread that Republican politicians who now say it's unfair, and people who are going to receive the benefits of the student debt relief plan that will actually be given a one-up in their life, and all the interest that they paid, it probably won't even amount the interest that they paid over the life of these loans for some of them. But the White House was just simply pointing out all the Republicans who are now saying this, but were received hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars.
Also,
in PPP loan forgiveness.
Why did these people need that money?
That's right. Well, why'd they need it, and why'd they have to have it forgiven? Are they lazy? Is it unfair? I don't know.
And the other thing I want to bring up is that these are people who had insight beforehand. They had insider information.
You're saying they knew that the pandemic, and they needed to know that they needed to have money?
Well, I'm saying, I mean, obviously we all knew the pandemic, but they knew the extent to which the government was going to at least aid people, and they said, we should offer government assistance to businesses. And those people said, well, I have a business.
Right. Well, I've got all kinds of
I have some people I can pay.
You know what we should do is we should pile on all kinds of money for businesses, just like I own. But Turning Points USA really stepped in it here. They really fucking stepped in it, because this was their response to the White House about PPP loan forgiveness. They said, we wouldn't have had PPP loans if it wasn't for you shutting down the country down. You meaning the White House. I guess that's what they meant.
I mean, in some ways, that is true.
Right? The White House did shut down the government. They did shut down, or not the government, they shut down the country to stave off the pandemic. Actually, they did shut down parts of the government because, they had to do that. But who was in, that's why I said you're going to shit when you find out who shut down this motherfucker, because they apparently do not know that the White House, every 4 years, it can change, I guess. I don't know.
Crazy.
Kind of funny.
Well, I mean, it can change if you follow democracy.
Right.
Well, it won't change if you had someone like, I don't know, Trump, who thought that he deserved to be the president.
Could just overthrow the election.
He was going to have people just, storm the Capitol and overthrow and change the electors. So
it gets better. A lot of you should go. It's too bad they deleted it, but there's plenty of people who screenshot all their comments and stuff. Wait, who do you think was the president at the beginning of the pandemic? And then,
and I just want to say, this took way longer than I expected to get deleted.
Oh,
like they whoever wrote this tweet, either Charlie Kirk or someone within the consecutive the conservative crew, or whatever you want to call them, they went through and they said, "Oh man, we fucking got him. We got him on this one,
yeah, bitch."
They thought
Boom, shakalaka.
They probably joked about it in a room with other people. They said, yeah, that's fucking good, man. They typed it out, read it one more time to themselves, and they go, yeah, that's good. Boom, send, tweet. And then do you think they went
and took a shit or something? And that's why it took so long?
I don't know. I mean, I think they went to go do some like ball tanning.
But I see. Yeah, well, apparently at Turning Points USA, they have a ball tanning room.
Right.
It's called the man room. It's called the man room.
Yeah. The man room.
Right.
And so they came back and they
did they have the quotes around it?
Yeah.
They have
the man room. Yeah. The man cave.
Right.
But they came back probably at some point, like, oh man, this tweet's blowing up. It's going viral. And they read it and go, oh shit, not for the reason we thought.
Oops. Olivia points out here, this is a screenshot again from the deleted tweet. She said, it brings me great joy to watch you publicly embarrass yourselves. Why don't you call your Daddy Donald and tell him you didn't like his ideas? Because she so elegantly points out.
It was a simple DuckDuckGo search, Tony. They could have just searched.
Take a long time to figure this out. Who was the president during the shutdown, right?
Yeah.
Right. It didn't take that long. really, honestly, if you
you could be like, who? Yeah, it's like, who was the president when PPP loans were given out?
What a bonehead. So that's why Charlie Kirk made it on the Alpha Cut, because boy, did he get cucked by the internet yesterday.
Boy.
Woo, Charlie, you suck, and it sucks to suck. Wow.
That's Charlie Kirk for you.
We have a dishonorable mention today, and we've been talking about it here on the show for a while. And anyone who missed the first part of the show, or if you're rewatching this on the MeidasTouch network, just the Bonehead of the Week part of this the segment, you would know that this morning, as we were on the air, the affidavit from the Department of Justice, the courts released the affidavit that was used to obtain the search warrant for Mar-a-Lago. So naturally, at the very last moment, in the 11th hour, as Gabe says, Donald Trump became the dishonorable mention, because not only do we have our 3 contestants here on Bonehead of the Week, Gabe, we put this poll out. What time was it last night that this poll went out?
Oh,
it was
know.
late.
7,
I think people were messaging us on Twitter like, hey, you got to get the Bonehead of the Week.
Boy, I had my own stuff going on yesterday. I had to get my car fixed, do all this other stuff. It was crazy day.
We used to do the Bonehead of the Week poll earlier in the week.
Yeah, like Tuesday, Monday.
Right, but what we figured out was, like, it was totally irrelevant by the time we got to Friday, because there's so many fucking boneheads in these MAGA Republicans. There's so many of them that by the time we got to Friday, it was a complete different setup.
Yeah, I mean, things can change as we see within just moments before I'm making all of the videos and assets here. Like, I'm like, oop, this is who's going to be this. This is who's going to be that. Right.
That's where this honorable mention and the alpha cut came from, because we needed the ability to do that last minute bonehead thing.
Yeah, and we've been doing it. We've been doing it since the first episode. But when we were talking about doing this, like this little Friday night or the Friday show, we were like, 3 doesn't feel like enough. We need something else.
Right. We got to.
And we started with dishonorable mention. That was the first one. Right. And then, because of our boy Ethan Schmidt.
Oh, you mean Carrie Lake's campaign messenger?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. That is where the alpha cuck out of some random deep abyss of my brain, as we're talking about him getting owned by a teenager, we're like, you know what? We need a 5th category here. Or we need another category.
There's just too many boneheads, and we got to step them in. And really, we could do like 8, 9, 10, 12 of these people, but we just don't have enough time.
I know. There's not enough time, and it just becomes like everyone would get an award. And look, we're not part of this whole participation award kind of group, okay?
You really got to do some boneheaded shit to win Bonehead of the Week, goddammit.
You got to really give it your all.
But this person, because they weren't on the poll, but they got the dishonorable mention, I really believe that this is like Bonehead of the Year type stuff.
Oh,
this affidavit. This is crazy shit, man. This guy, how many documents? Let's see. Let me go back to it here.
67, 87?
Oh, no, 184. Here's the
184.
Here's the
documents. Individual documents.
This is just in the first 15 boxes.
Yeah.
So you got to remember, Nara went down and took these boxes in May.
Yeah.
Right?
And this is after they said, hey, we're missing this stuff. And they said, we don't have this stuff. And they're like, we're pretty sure you have this stuff. And they're like,
we think you got it.
We'll look around. Maybe we have it. No, we don't have it. And they're like, no, you have it. And they're like, oh yeah, we have some.
We have some of it. Some of it. And then they went down and got 15 boxes. They bring it back to DC, apparently.
Which is also after the fact of Donald Trump going through the fucking files himself, picking out what he wanted.
And he's touching them.
Yeah.
He
was like, this is a good top secret.
Yeah.
This might make me some money.
Boy, this is worth a couple $1,000,000.
Kim Jong-un might like this one.
Whoa,
Putin will definitely like this one.
Put that one in Melania's underwear drawer. Yeah. Hey, this one needs to go in the safe. We really need to make sure no one sees this one.
No one can crack this safe.
Right.
Okay.
So from May 16th to May 18th of this year, the FBI agents went through these first 15 boxes. Here's what they found, Gabe. They found in these first 15 boxes, 14 of them had classified documents with classified markings on them. And that is important when you're talking about this. They were marked classified to some extent, which is important when Kash Patel is saying he waved his hands over these documents and he declassified them. He did not declassify them. He may have said it out loud, but they're not declassified if they're not marked properly. He didn't do that. Declassification doesn't live only in Donald Trump's brain. That is not how this works. That's not how our government works. That's not how our system works. That's not how we protect our national security, which he is putting in danger here. But out of 14 boxes contain these documents, and there was 184 184 unique documents, not pages, documents,
Right.
bearing classification markings. So in these 14 boxes, there was 184 files, in other words, of documents. I mean, if you want to think of it that way, right? Because 184, that sounds like pages, but it's not pages.
No.
That's actually a packet, or it could be more than one page, if that makes sense. Now, in that 184, Gabe, 67 of them were marked confidential, which is one level of classification. 92 were marked secret, which seems to me, I mean, even if I was a layman and I didn't know anything about classified documents or how they were declassified or classified, I would imagine that secret would probably be something that I don't know. And you don't want anyone to know.
You would think that, if it contains certain secrets or information about the country that might put our security at risk, or those who might be outside of this country, like
our people working for us in our government, to make sure
you wouldn't want to disclose those things, right?
Seems kind of significant. Well, the other significant thing here is 25 of them. 25 of these 184 documents were marked top secret. Now, again, I'm no classified document expert here, but I am a layman, and I understand that there's confidentials, one thing, secret. Ooh, that sounds even more like you don't want anyone to know. But top secret, it seems like that's a classification that only a few handful of people are supposed to see. It feels like that. It just feels like that.
Maybe we just keep this between us, like a little hush hush secret, like shh, don't tell anyone I took a cookie out of the cookie jar kind of shit. And you're like top secret, like what? I'm not trying to downplay just the aspect of a secret, but this is one of those things where you're like confidential, classified, top secret. You've got SCIF documents. Like, there is no way that you can rationalize outside, like, especially any Republicans that say, oh, this was an unjust attack of Donald Trump. He should have had those documents. They agree, now they're beginning to say, well, he shouldn't have had them, but they're still going with the argument. Like Dan Crenshaw saying this is an unjust attack on the president, totally political attack.
I wonder if they're going to start deleting those tweets.
I mean, you can't delete those interviews they did last Sunday,
well,
but I can tell you this much. This is one of those things where it's like, you guys doubled down and then tripled down on an argument that was pretty dumb to begin with from the start, right? You decided to say, oh, this was either planted, this was either fabricated, this was political move by Biden, this were not actually as bad as the documents as you might, describe. No, it is all of those things and worse in the fact that this was illegally taken by a former president that put our country at risk. It wasn't planted. It wasn't fake. It wasn't in a secure location, despite the fact that he said they were in two locks and behind a door. We're finding out that it's in multiple locations scattered across the fucking compound. That is not good. That is not safe. The area is not secure.
And again, this affidavit is only based on the first 15 boxes,
right?
Because in this 47, this item 47 here in the affidavit, it goes on to say, the FBI agent says down at the bottom, based on my training and experience, which you would think that an FBI agent would have some experience with classified or confidential documents. I know that documents classified at these levels typically contain NDI, which is National Defense Information, which is very important when you're talking about SCIFs, because it doesn't matter what the classification is. A lot of times, because they're NDI, they can only be viewed in a certain area because they have to remain secure in a certain way. Now, it goes on to say, and I think this is very important too. I don't want anyone to skate over this fact, because I actually think this has to do with the January 6th part of this. At the very bottom, it says several of the documents also contain what appears to be the former POTUS, former President of the United States, Donald Trump's handwritten notes, which means that it is the reason why the FBI brings up these handwritten notes in this affidavit is because they think him having these handwritten notes is criminal, which means it's either a crime to have them or he's hiding a crime that he did with the handwritten notes, right? Yeah. There's a reason why they point out that it's handwritten notes. I mean, it's not like, hey, get me another Diet Coke. That's not what this is. Yeah. This handwritten note is either a direction of crime or him possessing these handwritten notes is directly a crime, because maybe he's writing down with a Sharpie notes about classified information and briefings. Who knows what these handwritten notes are, but they are handwritten notes. These are the ones he didn't eat or flush, Gabe. That's the one.
Yeah,
what do you put on handwritten notes? Do you put ketchup on handwritten notes?
I think it's all ketchup, honestly.
Is it all ketchup on?
Yeah, well, I mean, what else will help classified
I'm
documents go down?
Just wondering when the average American goes to the White House and grabs a top secret document, or goes to the Mar-a-Lago pool house,
I
grabs
think,
a top secret document to eat. What do they put on it?
It's
mustard, ketchup, lettuce, tomato.
It's ketchup.
Do you use a sesame seed bun? I don't know.
No. The paper can be molded into a bun, and the actual contents of what's inside. So like, you fold it a long way, then fold it again. You've got a double fold in the middle. You throw some ketchup on, and you chase it with a Diet Coke.
What a shitbox. Dishonorable mention, Donald J. Trump, the Cheeto Dust mobster, the former guy, Grandpa Poopy Pants himself. He should have been the bonehead, but we had another winner, Gabe. We had another winner.
Yeah.
The female version of the former guy, Marjorie Taylor Greene, as I've been calling her. Swattery Green. That's what.
Swattery
Taylor Greene. That's what I meant to say. But I used to call her Marjorie Hooffoot Green, but now she's been changed to Swattery Taylor Greene. What is it that Marjorie Taylor Greene stepped in that made her? Because she was out front. I mean, like when we post this thing, she was the winner.
Yeah, she was.
Within a matter of seconds.
Yeah. At the end of once people see the video of the poll of the actual, like, them going against each other, it is not even close. Not even close.
Even Devin Nunes and Ben Shapiro couldn't compete with Swattery Taylor Greene.
They were
we posted it on Twitter at Tony Michaels Pod. When we posted it on there, boom, it was done. When I posted it on YouTube, boom, right out of the gate, she was the winner. No question. And that's where you go vote. You can vote on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, the Tony Michaels Podcast. You can find it on YouTube, or you can vote on Twitter at Tony Michaels Pod every single week. And again, we like to put it out early, but sometimes we hold on to that Twitter poll and that Bonehead of the Week poll for as long as we can, because the boneheads emerge. You can also download the Bonehead of the Week every single week. But this bonehead, there's some video of her, and the White House did such a great job. That's where I want to go with this, is because the White House destroyed Marjorie Taylor Greene. She was actually, I think she was in the first part of that.
She was the first one.
Thread. She was the first one.
Because here's the thing. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was the reason. She was the most outspoken person that decided to, in their own hypocrisy, say that these people who had worked to go to school either weren't able to finish or had mounting loans, that they don't deserve government aid in forgiving these loans. And how quickly the internet was like, let's pull out the receipts here, shall we, Marge? Because what we see here is that you took out up to $300,000 or so, and $183,000 was forgiven. So why are you
wait? You mean she took out a loan that she knew she was going to have to pay back, right? She knew she was going to have to pay it. Her income depended on this loan of her getting, is what the assumption was. And you're saying when she had to go pay back this loan, she got $183,000 of forgiveness? It seems like that person would think, when someone goes and gets a loan for their education, I don't know, for their livelihood, to think that they would get a good job or a good paying job. She would actually say, you know what, you should probably get some relief if you need it. But let's see what she actually said. But
for our government just to say, okay, well, your debt is completely forgiven. Obviously, they have an agenda for that. They need votes in November. So the timing is a pure coincidence there as well. But it's completely unfair. And taxpayers all over the country, taxpayers that never took out a student loan, taxpayers that pay their bills and maybe even never went to college, or just hardworking people, they shouldn't have to pay off the great big student loan debt for some college student that piled up massive debt going to some Ivy League school. That's not fair.
This is really dumb in so many levels. This video is so stupid. Number one, she's assuming that every single person that's getting their loan relief for $10,000 went to an Ivy League school, nor does she know that most people who go to Ivy League schools are from very wealthy families. Like Ben Shapiro, for instance, they go to UCLA and then they go to like an Ivy League, like Harvard Law, like Ben Shapiro went to.
Right.
And they actually, their parents pay for it out of their pocket. Now, there are several people that work their asses off to get above the people who can just afford to write the check for these Ivy League schools and get in these Ivy League schools. But a lot of times they're getting grants and they're getting scholarships as well because they're so goddamn smart to get into these schools.
And also, like, applying for scholarships and grants are not easy. Like, no. I mean, there are a ton.
You mean it's
there.
Work? You mean it?
Yeah,
you mean
it's
these
a lot
lazy,
of fucking work,
these
Tony.
lazy people who just want to live off the government are doing work to get into college? Come on,
I mean, I can tell you. Well, let me tell you, Tony, from my own experience, like, recipient of the Pell Grant as well, and like taking out private loans on my parents. The Parent Plus loan, all those things. Like, also, at the time when I was going to school, like, there wasn't an easy way to really, I mean, there were beginning to be some ways that you could find these kind of scholarships or grants or whatever, but you're kind of throwing yourself out there into the ether and being like, I'm going to apply to this. And I'm also going to be applying with thousands of other people for a very narrow amount of money. And I don't know if I'm going to get it. So you're out there applying. No idea if you're going to get it, if you'll even hear back. It's one of those things where it's like, it takes a lot of fucking work. And the people who are willing to do the work, right? She in her statement right now on that show, when she gave it, she was punching down everyone who went to college, right? Or started to go to college and had to drop out for whatever reason, or their situation changed or whatever it might be, whether they finished or didn't finish.
Right.
But she is pushing down this idea that anyone who took any sort of assistance, any sort of aid, is not someone who should be deserving of forgiveness from a woman who took money.
And the White House, so eloquently pointed out here and put her on blast. The White House tweeted, the Dark House, I guess we should say. Is it the Dark White House? The Dark? What is this? Because this is
I don't know. The Dark House.
The Dark House Rises type thing.
Yeah.
We should
like the Dark White House, the Gray House. I don't know.
But anyways, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene had $183,504 in PPP loans forgiven. The reason why we know that is because it's a government loan and it's government information.
Yeah.
When someone gets forgiveness,
anyone can look these things up.
Here's the greatest part. 700,000 likes. Holy shit. 63,000 quote tweets.
Yeah.
192,000 retweets.
But they didn't stop there.
Wild over
they
this.
Didn't stop there, Tony.
They did not stop with our bonehead of the week. They kept going. So we have another congressperson, Vern Buchanan, who had over 2.3 million. Holy shit. Forgiven on the PPP loans. The money the people loaned him, and we forgave that loan $2.3 million. Fuck this guy, this piece of shit, because he was on fake news here talking about how people are lazy. Let's listen. This amount wasn't even revealed in that. There was that graphic that was going around with a bunch of people. It was like Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, some other people. I don't think he was actually on there.
In our region, we've been talking about forgiveness of loans for the last 4 or 5 months. Are very, very upset. Many of them work 2 jobs to be able to put their kids through college, and then to think that a lot of these loans are going to be forgiven is wrong, and they're very outraged about it.
And no, they're not. No, they're not. No one's outraged. No one's outraged, you dumb son of a bitch. That people who went to school, who worked hard to go through school, who either finished school or, like Gabe said, didn't finish school and participated in our economy. We're at record low unemployment. To think that all the people that are going to receive this relief are only people who are lazy, you are a dumb motherfucker. And they are overcalculating here, Gabe. They are overcalculating. They're overreaching here, and this is going to backfire on them big time. Big time, this is going to backfire him, just like Vern here. Vern, that's his fucking name, Vern. He got 2.3 million. It doesn't stop there. Mark Wayne Mullen. Of course, Mullen here was talking about how people are lazy again, but he got 1.4 million with an M in PPP loans forgiven. Congressman Kevin Hearn, over 1 million. He absolutely says that these people should not have their debt relief for their hard work. Congressman Mike Kelly, Pennsylvania, almost 1,987,000.
Just shy of 1 million.
Ooh, and then a bonehead normal. He's normally on our bonehead of the week. I don't know how many times. We need to do that list of how many times he's stupid.
We'll give an updated count to show how many times
right?
Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and the rest of the fucking fascist seditionist group have come on in the show.
Well, here is Matt Gaetz saying, he tweeted, everyone knows that in a 60 billion plus European land war, it's always the last 3 billion that kicks in the door. And I don't know what he's tweeting here. The tweet's unavailable. It was, here, the $3 billion in aid to Ukraine. Right. He's talking about Ukraine. He's a Putin's puppet.
I gotta say, I'm surprised that all of these tweets have not been deleted by these people.
Well, they got so many vile tweets, it would be difficult to start deleting them. $482,000 Matt Gaetz got forgiven by the federal government, by us. But the main person here, Marjorie Taylor Greene, this week now revealed, which again, it's public information, she's punching down on the American working class, receiving just a slight benefit to help them relieve their debt, which probably in most cases isn't even the amount of interest that people have paid on these loans throughout the years. She received $183,000 in PPP forgiveness. That's why she is the bonehead of the week. Gabe, let's give this bonehead her due. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Hooffoot Green is bonehead of the week. You voted, you decided, we broke it down just as we do every single Friday in the second hour of the Tony Michaels podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube at the Tony Michaels podcast. We air live every single weekday, Monday through Friday, noon Eastern, 11 Central, 9 Pacific on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. And we simulcast from the MeidasTouch Facebook page. And every Friday, we bring you Bonehead of the Week right here on the Tony Michaels podcast and re-airing on MeidasTouch Network. Don't forget to subscribe to the MeidasTouch Network as well. Keep up with all your breaking news, why it's important, and how to spread that message. And you can vote on the YouTube channel or follow us on Twitter at Tony Michaels Pod, where you can vote for Bonehead of the Week. You can also download Bonehead of the Week every single week on Sunday. Apple, Spotify, Google, your favorite directory. While you're there, please leave us a review and please subscribe to the audio podcast. This has been this edition of Bonehead of the Week.
Bonehead of the Week.
We'll see you next week. Stick around. We have some great announcements on the Tony Michaels podcast right after the music.